Hello and welcome to another Teacher's Corner. I'm Teacher Kirby and today I'm going to be talking about batteries. You've probably heard about batteries and there are a number of different batteries available, and it can get quite confusing as to which batteries are good for what and which batteries maybe you should be using. So what I'm going to do is describe each battery and what it does and its benefits. Okay? So originally there were four different kinds of batteries: weapons batteries, engine batteries, shields batteries, and auxiliary batteries. Okay, so you see I've got quite a few weapons batteries here. We'll get into that later. But a weapons battery, quite simply, gives plus 75 weapon power setting for 10 seconds to when you use it. Okay, now this is before accounting for anything that you've spec'd into in batteries. If you have chosen, and this is where things get a little complicated, if you've gone into the skill tree and you have chosen, like I have, battery expertise, then that duration is doubled to 20 seconds. Okay? That's where that battery expertise comes in from the skill tree. That's what it does. It doubles the duration of your batteries. Okay? So plus 75 weapon power setting for 100 seconds, 20 for 10 seconds, 20 seconds if you have battery expertise from the skill tree. The other standard battery that we've had for quite a while is the engine battery. This gives plus 75 engine power setting for 10 seconds, 20 seconds if you have battery expertise. Shields batteries grants a regeneration buff of 911.6 shield regen and 75 shield power for 10 seconds. It also repairs offline shield subsystems. Okay. Auxiliary battery repairs disabled aux systems and gives 75 auxiliary power setting for 10 seconds. 20 seconds if you have battery expertise. Okay. Engine battery also repairs offline engines, and weapons battery repairs offline weapons. Okay. So at first blush, okay. Well, the higher your weapons power at any given time, the harder you're going to hit. Okay? So anything you can do to keep your weapons power up is going to be benefit. So that's where the weapons battery comes in. And of course, if your subsystems go offline, you have no other way. If you have no other way to get them online, this would do that for you very instantly. Okay? Engines battery, this is going to give you higher speed. It's going to help you get from point A to point B, which is going to lessen any downtime you may have, okay, where you're not able to fire at enemies while you're getting from point A to point B. So this will speed that up a little. Always helpful if you need that extra speed boost. So if you're the kind of build, maybe you're in a cruiser, maybe you're a slow moving build, you've sacrificed some engine power, popping an engine battery could give you a quick speed boost when you need it. Shields battery, of course, obviously, regeneration and shield power. Regeneration means that your shields are going to regenerate faster after they've been hit. It also means, and shield power means that they're going to be harder to knock down to begin with. Okay, and then aux battery. This gives you auxiliary power and puts your aux subsystems back online. So auxiliary power affects certain heals like auxiliary structural integrity field or hazard emitters. So those are dependent on aux power. It also affects science abilities like gravity well and Tychon's rift. Okay, so the higher your aux power, the better those are going to perform. So this would be something you would pop before you shoot off one of those abilities. All right. So those are your four basic batteries. These are batteries that you're going to get from mission drops, that you're going to get, just playing around, playing in the game. You're going to get these as drops. They're going to start multiplying in your inventory. You can also buy them from various vendors, okay, very cheaply. Then you have your crafted batteries. These are relatively new, and there's a multitude of them. Okay, so crafted batteries you have here under your beam school, you have energy amplifier. Okay, and the energy amplifier gives plus 20% all energy damage for 10 seconds. This includes beams, cannons, and turrets. Okay, anything that is an energy weapon. And you'll see it's actually quite cheap to craft. 8 verteron particles and 4 trionium gas. It takes only 5 minutes to craft, and you get 5 of them for that price. Okay, and then you have, and this is just a large version of the normal weapons battery. It gives you 100 power instead of 75. Everything else on it is the same. You can also, okay, there's also, under the cannon school, there is a targeting lock battery. This increases your accuracy. This is something that's good for PvP, where accuracy tends to be king. Okay, people that use a lot of cannons could use this. You can actually have cannons that curve to hit the target. Okay, so this increases your accuracy by 50% for 10 seconds, and this only affects weapons. Okay, and again, rather cheap to craft, 8 thoron particles and 4 hydrazine gas. Again, 5 minutes, and you get 5 for that price. Engineering, if you've done the mission that unlocks it, you can craft reactive armor catalyst. This is considered a battery. It shares battery cooldown. Okay, this gives you temporary hit points for 10 seconds, 20 seconds if you have battery expertise. Okay, temporary hit points as well as hull regen and hit points. Okay, and again, relatively cheap to craft once you've unlocked it. And that's 3 duranium, 1 tritanium, and 1 verteron particle. And this, you get 1 for that price. Okay. Ground does not have any batteries. Okay. Projectile weapons, you can get the kinetic amplifier. This is good for your torp boats. Okay, this increases your kinetic damage by 30% for 10 seconds, and this only affects your weapons. So this only affects the torpedoes that you throw out. Alright, so anything else you have that does kinetic damage that's not a torpedo is not going to be affected by this. Alright, but it only costs 8 tritanium and 4 duranium. Again, you get 5 for that price, so quite good deal. Alright, and then science battery is the exotic particle flood. The exotic particle flood gives you 20% all damage for 10 seconds, but this only affects exotic damage abilities. So this would be things like your gravity well, tractor beam repulsors, the damage that you do from a Tychon's Rift, something from maybe charged particle burst or not charged, photonic shockwave, for example, would be another exotic damage ability. So things like that are affected by the exotic particle flood. Okay, so this gives you, okay, this costs 8 thoron particles and 4 magnesite in order to craft. And then of course we have the shields, and there is a shield battery as well, or a shield crafted battery as well, called the Shield Resilience Boost. This gives a shield hardness increase. Okay, so that means it's your shields take less damage for the duration of this. This gives you a shield hardness increase of 10% for 10 seconds, 20 seconds if you're spec'd into battery expertise. And again, rather cheap to make. This only gives you, only costs 8 hexafluorine gas and 4 magnesite. Okay, so now we have what batteries can do, what they're good for. Okay, now batteries can be modified by duty officers. There are a couple ways. The first way, and this is what I have done with my tune, you see I have here 3 officers called Larife. And you'll notice it says additional buffs applied based on type of battery activated. Now, if I right click her, there we go. Alright, so she is a maintenance engineer. It says on the use of battery, adds damage buff for weapons battery, a damage resistance buff for shield batteries, so it makes you a little tankier, a perception and stealth buff for auxiliary batteries, and control expertise buff for engine batteries. Special non-consumable batteries instead improve your power levels for all subsystems by 5. Now, those crafted batteries that we just went over, those also increase your power levels to all subsystems by 5. So, now this is per officer. You notice I have 3 here. Now, if you look, weapons battery increases damage by 10% for 20 seconds. Okay, so that means every time I pop a weapons battery, not only do I get the amount that the weapons battery gives to my weapons power, but I also get an extra 10% damage buff for, in this case, because I have battery expertise, 20 seconds. Okay? Now these do stack, which is why I have 3. So when I pop a weapons battery, not only do I get my 75 power, I get plus 30% all damage. This is a category 1 boost, so it's not a lot, but it is noticeable. Okay? Now this does last for 20 seconds, so it's not a very long buff, and timing is either timing for the right time or having maximum uptime with something like the the energy amplifier is preferable for keeping that boost as level as possible. Alright, but you notice Shield's battery increases damage resistance by 10% for 20 seconds. Red matter capacitor increases all power by 5 for 20 seconds. The crafted batteries do the same as the red matter capacitor. Okay, auxiliary battery increases stealth by 10 for 20 seconds. And engine battery increases control expertise by 10 for 20 seconds. Okay, so like I said, these stack. So since I have 3, when I pop, now I usually use on my energy weapons tunes, I use an energy amplifier and a weapons battery, and I cycle those 2. They have a 30-second shared cooldown, so I hit my energy amplifier, I get 20% all damage from my weapons for 20 seconds. Then I get 10 seconds of no boost, and then I hit the weapons battery, and I get plus 75 weapon power setting for 20 seconds, and plus 30% all damage for 20 seconds. Okay, so 40 out of 60 seconds, I have at least a 20% damage boost going for my main attack. Okay, on my energy weapon tunes that I do this on. Now it is possible, I have 3 that I've purchased. It is possible to get a maintenance engineer for free. On the KDF side, that would be the junior duty officer. Let me see if I can find him here. I may not have him on this tune. Engineering, okay, here he is. I did have him. Okay, this is the duty officer that you get from the junior duty officer or junior officer weekends. This is the free one that you get as a KDF, Kazan, okay? And you'll notice he does the secondary effect when you apply a battery. There are also, let's see if I can find a quartermaster. Specialty, okay. There are also another type of battery officers, quartermasters. Quartermasters, let's see. I don't think I have one. Nope. Quartermasters, certain ones, reduce the recharge time on batteries. They again also stack three to active space roster. So you can stack either 3 maintenance engineers, 3 quartermasters, or you can mix and match. Okay? So you can reduce the cooldown a little bit on your batteries. You can keep your buffs going, keep your batteries up longer if you have, or your uptime up longer if you have the quartermasters to reduce the cooldown. Now I'm showing you the KDF. I'll be honest, these can be a little pricey, so you might want to save up for it if this is something, if you're already doing decent amounts of damage and you're looking for that little extra something, this could give you a little bit extra. But make sure that it's something that you really want to spec into or delve into, because it can be a little expensive. Now on the Fed side, we can do the same thing. The duty officers have different names, obviously. Okay, so I'm logging into one of my Torp tunes. Come on, load in. There we go. Okay, and so for this tune, here's my active space roster. So you'll notice on this tune, this is a Fed. So the Exocomp, again, that Junior Duty Officer Weekend, you get this, every Fed character can get this duty officer for free, one of them. Okay, so that's the Exocomp. And again, gives the additional buffs applied. And then Torasek. Okay. Again, Torasek can be a little pricey, but you see I have 2 of them here. Okay, and then additional buffs applied based on type of battery activated. Alright, so batteries can give you that little extra something if you find you're lacking or you need just a little bit extra oomph. This could be something that you might want to look into. Batteries will work without the duty officers. The duty officers kind of give it that extra something special, but they're not a 100% requirement. I want to be clear on that. They're not a 100% requirement. You don't have to spend 15 million EC getting a duty officer if you're going to use batteries. You can use the batteries straight out of the box and get very good results with them. Okay? Alright, so those give it a little extra something. Alright, so I hope you have learned something. You can hear the discussion of Teacher's Corner live every Wednesday night on the show at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Look forward to seeing you there.